Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Oh, so happy it's Thursday. Yeah, you know the acronym. Oh, shit. Hey, tomorrow in Las Vegas, it's going to be 99 degrees. If you live in this inferno or any inferno like it, Arizona, places like that, this time of year, you get 99 degrees, you're looking for snowflakes. That's the difference between 110 and 99. You feel it going down. Once it escalates to 110, 115, our bodies are already singed. We don't feel it. But when it starts to come down, a little bit more of a pep in my step. Headed into my favorite time of the year. Autumn, fall, call it whatever you want to. We are on the other side of hell. And it looks like it's going to be a much drier sprint towards winter this year. As you know, coming up is September is the anniversary of the Great Flood, the one I'm still recovering from on both ends. But according to all the meteorologists, and like I said, I've become an amateur one because been traumatized by that shit last year. I'm looking for every fucking weather report I can possibly look at. And so far, so good. Looks like we're done with the 110s for the most part, and we're just, we're rolling into where the leaves start dying. You go into Home Depot and Walmart, the 12-foot skeletons are already out. Some of these places you can see in the warehouse, they got the Christmas trees ready. So retail world sprint to Christmas is begun. Football, college football, I'm not the biggest college football fan in the world, but it's just one of those things that let you know salvation is ahead. And then you have the NFL. I think the NFL starts on my birthday, as a matter of fact. The day after my birthday. September 7th is on a Saturday. We will be having a party celebrating me, damn it. All praise to me. Might be 6, 7, 8 hours. All right. And I want to hear nothing but gratification to me. I'm just kidding. I don't know where the hell Brad is. Thursday, he may have gone to see The Crow. And you know how he needs his near 40-year-old grown man nap. So I don't know where he's at. Let's see. If he reposted the event, then I know he's on his way. And if he is not, we're probably never going to see him. At least not tonight. All right. Okay, so like I said, we'll just go on solo for it. Just basically an open Q&A. So happy it's Thursday. No particular topics. I'm not going to discuss a lot of the things that are on my mind tonight because I'm going to save them for the Saturday show. Saturday's music Musical topic will be the great David Bowie. Not just one album, but his entire career, because his career was like a chameleon. Our comic book turning point story will be Wonder Woman Dead Earth. I don't think we've done that one before. I have to look. I don't think we've done it before. I know I've wanted to do it, but I wanted to have it in stock when we did it because I didn't want to do it. Got a couple other things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the interview with Robert Downey Jr., how he came to the old Doctor Doom experience. I really love what they're doing with him in Fantastic Four. He will be in Fantastic Four apparently, and apparently he is that universe's Doctor Doom. So he'll be coming over once that universe goes away. Like I said, I'm super excited about July 2025 when it comes to Fantastic Four. There's that other movie out there that if it turns out to be great, that's going to be a bonus, but I have no expectations one way or another, and I'm not going to get caught up in all that. I'm not going to do the whole wait and see attitude because that's a waste of my time. I know Fantastic Four for me is probably it's more than likely going to be good. I don't know what's going to happen with the DCU, so we'll talk about that as we have to. All right, let's say hi to the chat. Clinton and his duck. That's my favorite Aussie. How are you doing? I found a picture PF of where Rue Aaron picture put on Discord. Okay. Brad is not here, but I guess he'll pop up. Hit the like and subscribe. Hey, also, I'm gonna be like I said last night, we stream really late. I'm gonna try some experiments over the next couple of days, streaming a little bit earlier. They will not be long streams because the reason why I do it at nighttime is because my schedule is busy. The only time I can really justify it is on Saturday, because I pretty much don't do any type of task on Saturday in regards to maintaining the store. It's all about customers, and I can stop what we're doing from there. But I'm going to try some stuff during the weekday just to see to gauge where the audience is and what your desire is. So keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, hit the like, subscribe, share our show to the people you think might enjoy this conversation. Also, hit the alert button. I mean, it doesn't always work, but more times than not, it does. No, I was I playing drums? No, I should do the air guitar. You know, I wish one of our viewers would actually take the song and do a lip sync video to it. That'd be awesome. Finally, dude, I was not late. As soon as I hit the button, I didn't have anybody waiting in dead air. So there you go. Yes, double digit temperature. Hit Clint is here with me in Las Vegas. It's literally, you don't know how much this means to us. Like I said, your body chemistry can only take so much of this suffering, and then it knows what time of year it's supposed to be. Like I said, I'm not wishing for zero rain over the next 5 months. I just don't need that shit we had last year. That was bullshit. I never want that again in my life. So yeah, double digits, baby. 99. Some places they would still burst into flames for 99-degree heat, but here, by comparison, it's wintertime, baby. Woohoo! Yep. How you doing, Hal Jordan? Little grind my stride. When your feet aren't catching fire, it's a lot easier to stride. That's funny. Not haha way. My area floods too. It's not built for. Yeah, I mean, you're in the Midwest. I'm like I said, when they built Las Vegas, like I said, if you think climate change is not a thing, you're literally, I can't help you. I've been in Las Vegas. I got here in 1993. Yeah, I've seen what the climate has done here. I have seen weather, not just the heat. I've seen weather do things here that it wasn't doing when I first got here. What we had last year with all that rain was not common for Las Vegas. We had more rain in a 6.5 month period than we had in like 10 years. It still didn't help for the drought, but it was more than this city is built for. This city was built for the weather that it had then. Nobody envisioned climate change. Nobody envisioned ever having to build all these detention basins and all that. In 1990, 1993, you said, we need a little more gutters and drainage, and you got laughed at. I remember people with city council, people would move from other places and say, hey, this place doesn't have enough so-and-sos. And it was a desert. Yeah, well, I don't know. This is in Seattle. Now look at us. It's just like I said, the infrastructure was not built for it. There is a lot of older buildings here that are west of or east of the Strip. Mine being one of them that were never ever designed for the amount of water we got last year. So, and like I said, it was a news story when it rained. Last year the news story was so much. Literally we counted like 7 straight weekends of rain. I'm like, where the fuck am I living? If I need to get the benefits of Seattle, Washington, if I'm gonna get the weather, shit. So yeah, this city was not built for it. Hopefully last year, remember we had a hurricane. The first time in my life that I can remember that a hurricane was on the Pacific coast instead of the Atlantic coast, or on the east side. So hopefully that was an aberration. But yeah, double digits, baby. Yeah, that doesn't help at all because they overrun. Yes, I love the time of year. No, I'm ready for you to gratify me. Don't be a pervert, but hey, it's late night wherever your mind takes you. You saw it, yeah. Vince was one of the people I sent. So, what did you think? I've heard split reviews. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. People really hate it, or they like it. I have not heard a middle yet. Nobody's given me an average yet. I've heard from 6 people. 3 of them hated it. I mean, hated it. And the other people loved it. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this movie, so I'm going to wait before I say anything. Like I said, I unfortunately, like I said, but some of the reviews I have to dismiss. I dismissed most of the reviews anyway, but they're opening up their reviews talking about the 1994 film. That's going to be a problem. This is this ain't it. So if you're judging it from the 19, I already said that's going to be a failure. But I'm wondering if people will be able to review it on the movie for what it is. I'm going to be curious to see that. But haven't seen it yet. What do you mean it isn't? I know that. What did I say? 2004? If I said 2004, you know what I meant. 2024. Soteria, yep. Dr. Doom. Oh, here we go. My goodness. Well, I'm talking about being traumatized. I'm the one that's traumatized, brother. Nah, but you know what, Bed? You almost killed a guy on our way out. So there's that. Did you see it, Aztec? I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I still have tickets to give away for it. Should Superman evolve or mention in a multiverse? Yeah. Yeah, because there's more than one Superman. I mean, you have Earth 1. I mean, if you're doing it right, there's multiple Superman. Fourth, what would it take for you to review your review something of audience choice in anime? Well, I'd have to see it. That's be the first thing. It's time to add new media to your plate. Maybe Neon Genesis then. You guys never bring those up. I mean, look at the shit that we've watched. I mean, I haven't said, we've watched the diverse stuff. Nobody, and see, that's the thing. In order for us to focus, we have to have a demand for it, or at least some conversation about it. I mean, haven't we done Ghost in the Shell? I know we've done Akira. Well, when it comes to these other things, I'm not opposed to doing them. A lot of it is time and priority, though. I mean, because the stuff that we do that's more closer to my core audience, that's what, like Crows, things like that. Those take priority, but we can fit these other things in. You can also leave a giant super chat, too. That helps. Hello, Ruth. How you doing? What time in the morning is that? I am ready for All In. AEW, once again, you've heard me say it over and over and over and over again. AEW, for whatever the marks want to try to say about them and some pundits, don't put on bad pay-per-views. It just doesn't happen. They may put on pay-per-views that are not as good as the others, but they don't put out. I have never walked out of a pay-per-view either live or watching where I thought, well, wow, that show sucked. So I am definitely looking for All In. I'm looking forward. I mean, Swerve, obviously Swerve and Brian Danielson, uh, Tony Storm, Mariah May. The tag team match is going to be bonkers because we have the Young Bucks who need to lose those fucking titles, by the way. Going against FTR and what was it? The Acclaim. That's going to be a great match. The international title match between Will Ospreay and MJF is going to be a great match. So, like I said, we're going to go over the lineup on Saturday night. That's going to be one of the topics, and then we're going to review it on the Sunday night show. But yeah, I'm definitely looking for All In. I wish it wasn't so early in the morning, though. What time is All In? I think it's like, what is it, 10 o'clock here? Or is it 1? All right, so let's see. It is going to be 1 p.m. So it's going to be 10. I got to get up at 10 a.m. after doing this show all night. All right, but I'll do it. You got some problems, buddy. You got some problems. Sorry, Chuck. I saw that at Comic-Con. That was one of the footages that we saw the footage first at Comic-Con where he's actually turning into the Red Hulk. Secret Service is holding him down, and he turns into the Red Hulk, and that's the first time you actually see him, his face and everything. He's standing behind the presidential podium. Looks good. Looks good. I'm definitely interested in Thunderbolts. Pro's probably going to be on there real fucking soon. Romulus too. I mean, Crow will be way sooner. I give Romulus another 2-3 weeks before it gets out there, because most of these movies, like I said, 82% of your movie, your money, your revenue is made during those first 2 weeks. So depending on where the percentage drops, if they think that it has any legs after week 2, then it'll stay. But like I said, where is it at box office right now? I'm thinking that they probably already have a date for Romulus on streaming. Anyway, they probably had a date for Romulus quicker than anything else, because remember, Romulus was green lit as a streaming on Hulu, so they probably have their date already set. All right, right now on a budget of $80 million, it's at $121 million, which is decent money. But they did spend some money on that, though, because at Comic-Con, everybody got those face huggers when I couldn't get one because I was in the Hall H line. But they have spent some money marketing-wise on it, but I think they're happy where they're at. Let's see. Yeah, so it doesn't have a date listed here for PVOD, but trust me, they got one. I just converted to Celsius, and it's going to be 37 degrees, which is nice weather here in Australia. What's that in Fahrenheit? Because I'm stupid. I do not. We are going to, and I fundamentally disagree with anybody who thinks so. I can respect that opinion, but I disagree. I don't think especially not for modern kids. If you're talking about kids in the late 30s and 40s, yeah, because what they were saying on hearing about on the radio and seeing in their newspapers and happening in their cities and all over the world, the 1939 to the end of the Second World War was a very brutal place for everyone. Your kids were growing up in that environment, so their entertainment, even as kids, had to match that environment. As we've gotten softer and as we, went different directions, the kids have changed. I mean, a lot of parents censor things that their kids see because they didn't want them to go through what they went through as kids. You try to make it easier for that next generation. But when you're talking about, if you keep to the core of what Batman is and what Bob Kane and Bill Finger created him to be, Batman was never for child consumption. It's been distorted and twisted and changed to that, but that doesn't mean it is. I mean, you can take something and twist it and distort it into something else. That doesn't mean that's what it was meant to be. You can make it for kids, but then you are altering and you are distorting that product, in my opinion. So I'll never let go of that. Not really. Not really. Somebody could buy the rights. The rights aren't going to be that expensive. Somebody else could buy them from Lion Gates or buy them from whoever, and just write a better script. Write a better script. Get it, get it decent cast. Make it look like something that isn't, trying to relive 1994 or I think the very first step to your success as a Crow franchise would be to never do Eric Draven again, to never revisit that look again, to never revisit that character again. That story was told in 1994. I still think Crow can be successful, and I think it can be successful sooner than 10 years. But I think you have to commit to actually following the myth and mythology of the Crow. I think once they do that and they put themselves in situations that are relatable to the times we live in now, I think they can make some money with it because they don't spend a lot of money on these movies. Yeah, I heard everything is limited down to like what a real brutal act, but that's like a lot of it where it is. 3 out of 10. Wow. Okay. We watched it on its own merit, but my girlfriend had only first seen the 1994 one and last night and hated this one. Okay, so that's okay. So she goes into the hate column then. Okay, so I just got into The Crow and I loved and hated it at the same time. It's a total mixed bag, and I fucking love the violence. Yeah, the violence just from the trailer alone looks great. But see, there I go. I mean, these reviews are going to be all over the place. So hey. Oh, that being said in a British accent. I've said watch Moon and Predestination. Great watches. Both are sci-fi, not anime. Sam Rockwell and Ethan Hawke movies, respectively. All right. Prometheus watch party is going to be at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. because we're going to do Prometheus and we're going to do Covenant. I did not. Did I finish the first season? Yes, I did. I finished the first season. It's my second favorite Crow movie behind Crow 1994. It was a great Crow movie, but a terrible Eric and Shelley Crow movie. They were local people. Their dad. Some of the tickets I gave away last night were for local people. I do have some for. I think I have like 2 pairs left. Somebody wants to go. Why you got to be up so early? Damn. Oh, I can easily explain Lego Batman. Same way I can explain Adam West Batman in the same way I can explain Batman animated series. Someone took an IP that was never meant for modern day kids and they distorted it and changed it so that it could be. That doesn't make that right. That's just what they did. I mean, like I said, it's like a G-rated slasher movie. It's a waste of my time. Just because they've gone and done these things doesn't mean those things were true to the character, the way the character was designed. And not just my words, the people who designed them, when they designed them, how they designed them, and the people who've done the heavy lifting to build that character, how with the consistency that they've been in. So just because somebody made a kids movie with Legos, or something suitable for kids doesn't mean that that's where the IP is, what's supposed to be. Okay, you've converted. All right, cool. Gotcha. Brave and the Bold. Brave and the Bold. What do you mean? How do I? What do you explain that? I mean, the only time you see a refined version of Batman like that is when he's standing next to Superman. But read the actual Batman comics. Read the actual core. Go back and read Batman the Cult. Read Batman Dark Knight. Read Batman Year One. Read Batman from 1983 to 1987. Read Batman Killing Joke. I mean, there's enough out there. Read the original. Read the first 50, 60 issues, or after Detective Comics 27. Read those. Read some of the Neil Adams Batman. I mean, it's all there for you. There's more stuff out there that tells you what Batman is. And you can see the eras of Batman where they went soft and they got scared because they were afraid that, the violence and stuff wasn't going to affect kids. And I'm like, dude, they just lived through World War II. 20 million people died in their childhood. They would have been fine. But that's what the 50s and 60s. After the war, the censorship and the comic book code and all these things came in because they thought that comic books were too violent. And they were too dark and they were too gritty. So they distorted what they had. And then comic books, and when they did that, comic book sales, they went down, they plummeted. And they didn't pick back up until the late 50s, early 60s. I don't know. I need to know a lot more about what he's trying to do. How old is Batman supposed to be? We're going to have like the 9,000 Bat family members on there. So are you giving me an older Batman? I mean, so it all depends. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Same thing. I mean, I know you're joking, but would you put Terrifier in front of the average kid? No. And you're probably going, well, Terrifier is much more violent than Batman. Yeah, Batman is not as violent as Terrifier, obviously, but he's unsuitable enough for kids to where none of this shit should have really ever happened. Yeah, after Saturday it jumps up and we get that last dying, I think 108 for a little bit. But that's we're headed towards the home stretch of it though, because you can kind of see it in the weather patterns. How you doing, Antonio Baker? By the way, if you would like to become a member, hit the membership button. Other ways you can support the channel is our Patreon. The link is in the description. The easiest way to do it is the super chat button. If you have a question, we can read it right on the air. I'm reading them on the air right now, but eventually we'll probably get big enough to where you'll only be able to do those. But everything goes into the show. Everything goes into the the equipment, things like that, the website, StreamYards, all that stuff. So all support helps. I would not have been able to do a lot of what I did in San Diego and the very next week and start, here in Vegas for the Star Trek convention without that support. So you appreciate it and thank you in advance. Anyone probably could play Eric Draven, but the biggest problem you have is a lot of people attach Eric Draven to Brandon Lee, and I'm not for that. I don't think anybody should play Eric Draven. It's time to tell another story. The Crow is the constant. The Crow is the story, not Brandon Lee, not Eric Draven. Not for free. Fuck that. I heard that in a couple places today. I don't know if Prometheus, the follow the wrap up of that story is going to be something that is intertwined with the rest of these movies, or if we're going to get one. I'm going to wait to hear. If he comes out and says it, or somebody comes out and says it, we're in development, then I'm going to be happy because I like I said, I know still people hate. The problem I have with the people who hate aliens is they're just the same people who want the same old shit. Facehugger, chest burster, kill the crew, one last person survives. Next movie. And granted, Romulus had these elements, but it had other elements, and the elements that really made me happy, and that's what Prometheus was doing. I mean, you just want the simple shit, go watch those older movies, but I want to see Ridley Scott was building a world. If the guy who created what you're doing is building a world, fucking let him. Stop whining about Alien. If I hear one more person say Alien returned back to his horror roots, you're not watching fucking Alien. Good or bad, if you keep saying that shit, Alien returned to its roots, you have not been watching. I'm sorry. Some of it has been garbage, but it never left its horror roots. You can discuss the effectiveness of the horror in Aliens, but no, all these movies are gross, they're nasty, and they're horrific. This is the way I like it. But yeah, you know, the backhanded compliment, like, I don't know what Prometheus you watch. You're telling me you did not watch Prometheus if you tell me that Alien is returning to its horror roots after those movies. You're telling me you did not see the movie. You sure as fuck did not see Covenant if you're going to tell me that Alien is just now returning to its roots. There's no way I can come to the conclusion that you're watching these movies if you say something like that. You know, and if you were watching, you weren't watching close enough. And that's just my opinion. But like I said, I don't want Alien to fall into that trap to where people just want what they've only seen. Just because that was what the 1979 movie and 1986 doesn't mean that's the entire world. And when did we become so basic where we can't even let the guy who created the world actually do his job? You know, it's kind of sad. There's a difference with adult jokes and adult tone. Like I said, the Batman, like I said, done right, and the atmosphere that is Gotham and the people that operate in Gotham, when done right, it's not kiddie shit. And when it's done right, there's no confusion. There's no gray area. There's no blurred line. You know when you're doing Batman right. When it goes down a certain the path that it was designed to go down. Picture William sees Batman as a lead, but here Batman where he's talking. I when I talk about Batman, I go back to Detective Comic number 27. I go back to what was going on in that time, and I go back to, you know, all the stories that were being told at that time. I go back to Neil Adams. I go back to Frank Miller. I go back to, you know, David Mazzucchelli. I go back to, you know, even the John Byrne run. I mean, there are certain runs of Batman, you know, where the character has been defined. You know, the character has been defined. And like I said, as a marketing gimmick and a capitalist gimmick, they had this popular character, but they could not put it in front of kids in its raw form. So they refined it. They made it like baby food for babies. And that's when you mess up something. Once you have to change something to the point where it has to fit another audience, you should make something for that audience. You should never change something like that to where you look at it and you've transformed it into something that it is not. You're better off just making a character that fits that demographic. Because now what you've done is you put something out there that could adversely influence things. So when we have these clashes now to where people who want to see Batman the way it was designed to be versus people who grew up with a fucking cartoon, now we're butting heads and we can't get anything done. We can't get any Batman done. And, you know, we have these wars now. Well, Batman doesn't kill. And then so-and-so is a defender of Batman. You know, I'm fighting words, man. You come to me and you tell me a fucking cartoon is definitive Batman. That does things to my blood pressure that shouldn't be happening. Mega Striver, William, what do you think of these concept trailers that are amazing? Oh, like, well, the one from Fantastic Four was amazing. That's how you do it. They got me rolling in excitement for that movie, and it's over. It's almost a year away. So yeah, I love concept trailers. I don't think you should have if you're doing a movie and it's a year away. I think you. That's where your world building starts. All right, you start making your case. In my opinion, people say, "Well, that's too soon," or "That's too," fuck that. You start building your case for these movies, immediately. And I think FF is doing it right. I don't know what DCU is doing. I hope it works out for them. They didn't survive the Comics Code. That's the thing, is that that's where the softening of these characters began. Now, Superman and Wonder Woman, to a certain extent, didn't change because their characters were the forefront. They were the poster kids of America. They were fighting for America, in World War II, things like that. They were. If you look at Superman, the way Superman has been depicted for most of his career, the reason why you can do a Superman cartoon and it not have an adverse effect on anything is because you look across the board, Superman has been consistently portrayed, and his discipline has been the same for the most part. Most people, when they do Superman, they don't take him down a road that America, doesn't know. So there is no such thing right now. Superman was created for that era's kids, but they haven't. He's the type of character, and his morals and his ideas and his way that can fit in just about any era. Whereas Batman, like I said, the kids that were kids in the era of Batman being created it was different. That was a different tone. You're talking about fighting crime in the abstract and fighting supervillains and big cosmic type stuff. Batman, you're in the streets, you're in the inner cities, you're in the places where these kids were growing up. So to this day, that's one of the reasons why Batman sells and makes does better. But when Marvel kicked off in City, now see, here's the thing though, the genesis of Marvel, not only was it affected by the code, but it was also affected by the time that we were in. In the 1960s, we were I call it the era of color. 3-4 years of color. You didn't have the Kennedy assassination. We weren't fully into Vietnam, at least in a public sense. We were going through the civil rights era, but it wasn't on every household's TV like it would be in the mid 60s and the late 60s. Your last war was the Korean War, and you were 8-9 years away from that. You were almost 15, 20 years, 15, 16 years removed from World War II. Baby boomers, buying everything was, you kind of see that in the atmosphere that Fantastic Four is trying to make. So the comics that were out, the only thing that they were writing about is really the nuclear age. Radioactivity pretty much built Marvel Comics in those early days. The Hulk, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. But it wasn't like nuclear war being fought. It was the threat of nuclear war and nuclear power. That's what got us. But even Marvel went down darker routes once you got into the mid 60s and the late 60s. You see these stories change as the country changed. The civil rights era exploded out in everyone's living room. Vietnam exploded. Walter Cronkite was giving you honest reports. You had presidential assassination. You had RFK. You had Martin Luther King. You had Malcolm X. You had all these things that were happening. And Stan Lee, who was a visionary living through that time, was now getting more real estate to be able to tell the stories that he wanted to tell. So you even see Marvel starting to change at that point. Once the war started affecting them, and then you went into the 70s, you went in, so it's just Marvel and DC started in two different eras, but you see how their stories were projected. Even though Marvel was generally made for family stuff, that's what you could get past the editors. But you look at some of the stories that were being told in the late 60s and in the early 70s, in the mid 70s, you were getting some deep stuff even then. But the Marvel had time to grow into it, whereas DC's basically they cut them off. That would make Brad cry if he were here. I didn't see my personally without. Well, it's been a week. I didn't see anything that indicated that it was, but then again, I could have missed it. Not that I could see. Yeah, Alien is a horror thriller. Even Aliens, even though Aliens is more of a war movie, it's still horrific. It's still horror. Oh, what will you say his name? Brad Nia Fierce. He probably, like I said, the last couple of Thursdays, he's been pretty much out of it. So I don't expect to see him tonight. Nah, I think the James Cameron Alien, I mean, I think he understands this too, is over with. I mean, it's 125 million. I think Prometheus did like 400 something million off of a surprisingly low budget. Prometheus, they spent about 120 million on it. It made 403, which was not, for a movie that, like I said, a lot of people resisted. That's good money. And even Covenant costs about 100 million, average 111 million. It made 240. And then you have Alien Romulus that, Alien Romulus is at 80 million, but it's at 121 million. And some of that money, like I said, that budget's more than 80 million because of the stuff that they did was super expensive. I mean, they were giving you away latex rubber things at Comic-Con, and that was a promotion budget right there. So that they spent some money. So I wouldn't say, I think Romulus may have changed the perception, but if you're paying attention, in my opinion, all Romulus did was call back to a lot of the movies people never gave a chance. That third act is Prometheus. What you mentioned about weekly stream times? What you are 8 hours difference, so I might do some stuff like on a Monday where the center is closed. I might start doing Mondays. So we take a Monday night off, but I might do a Monday, like a Monday morning, like a noon time. So you're 8 hours difference, so that will be 8 o'clock your time. Yeah, whether it was the Batman the animated series, people love that. That doesn't mean that that's Batman. That doesn't mean how something is accepted and what it is are two different things. You could change, like I said, let's change, name me a franchise. You could change it to fit someone else's sensibility. That doesn't mean that was the right thing to do or that's what that thing is. If I took out all the violence and stuff that's in some of the hardcore Dragon Ball Z stuff and made it so that an audience that can't handle violence, I'm fucking up Dragon Ball Z. If I take a Friday the 13th movie and I take away a lot of the graphic kills so that I can make it, fit an audience that doesn't like graphic kills, I'm fucking up that franchise. Somebody else may love it, but the thing that they love is something else. That soft porn Jason not doing a bunch of graphic kills is not Friday the 13th. It's something else now. You identify with it as that thing, but it's really not. You've stripped the core things away and turned it into something that it's not. And you could apply that to anything. Apply that to anything that is something. Now you can go the other way around. You could take something that was meant for family audiences and and add Pure Blood and Honey. If you're looking at Winnie the Pooh, you grew up Winnie the Pooh, they have taken that and they have made that violence. That is not the IP. That is not Winnie the Pooh per se. You would be right to say they've changed that and turned it into something that Pooh is not. Even though I enjoyed it, that argument that is not Winnie the Pooh, or what is I go for or is identified as Winnie the Pooh would be just as valid as what they did with Batman. Just because something is received well doesn't necessarily mean that that's what that thing is. You basically created an audience that really wouldn't have existed had you kept with the core material. You don't evolve. You don't evolve from what you are. That's not evolution. What they did is they stripped away. Evolution is not just taking away from something. So when you take things away, you're admittedly taking something away from the character that makes it what it is to make it something that it is not. Then just make something new. Once again, you guys can enjoy the fuck out of Lego Batman. I'm not saying you don't have to, what I'm saying is that Lego Batman, the core of Batman, was never meant to be for that audience. By comparison, no. You're talking about. Oh, you're talking about the time. No, I know the difference between 8 hours because I watch enough British pay-per-views and Japanese pay-per-views. So there you go. Peak what? You can't say they're peak Batman because that's not Batman. That's something they slapped the bat on for some kids. But I've shown you what Batman is. I've showed you. I've taken it off my wall and I've shown you what Batman is. No, you are right there. The Batman, the Lego Batman is not that influential as a cartoon was, because you're not raising a bunch of people, sitting them in front of the TV watching a cartoon, and then they're growing up and going out into the atmosphere with that version of Batman in their head, and then they run into guys like me that are like, "Excuse me, are you still wearing a diaper? Your Batman doesn't do what? Oh, you got that from a cartoon. I'm sorry. Have a seat." And I give them a stack of shit that will tell them what Batman is. I think Bruce Wayne would prefer the Batman that doesn't kill, but it does happen. He's not a murderer, but it happens. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about this stuff, like the concept trailer for like Fantastic Four. I thought you guys were talking about that. I don't watch a lot of AI trailers. Once I know that they're not real, I don't watch fan movies either. I just, I have all the tremendous respect for people who create them. I just don't watch them. My mind is geared toward the real thing. Sorry. And that's not a knock against anybody who does them. If you enjoy them, that's great. I don't. If it's not coming from the company, I generally don't want to see it. I don't like fan trailers. Some of the fan trailers are really, really good that I've accidentally seen thinking that they came from the company. And I'm like, now my head is not, no. So once I realized that the trailer didn't come from the company, I generally skip it. I'm not a fan trailer guy. I'm not a fan film guy. I'm just not. I know it's just a preference for me. So not a knock against those guys. Once I know it's not real, I skip it. And it's not just my Batman. I know you're being facetious, but like I didn't design the character. I wasn't one of the major people that developed the character into what it was. So your argument is with those people. Yeah, and one of the main reasons you got the Punisher, to be honest with you, was Frank Miller's influence, the way he used that character in Daredevil. Him, and then Mike Zeck. Mike Zeck came along and did some stuff, but Marvel, two people were changing Marvel and allowing Marvel to expand into grittier stuff: Chris Claremont and Frank Miller. If you want to know why it went from being fluff to relatable stories, those two gentlemen, for comics in general, by the way, made it okay to get down and dirty, to get violent, were needed, to take some risk with some things, that, during the Code era, you just couldn't do. Those guys had so much influence. Those two gentlemen had so much influence that you just didn't say no to them. When Frank Miller was on your book, your job was just to basically let him do it. Chris Claremont, that speaks for itself. So if you look at the Punisher's earlier appearances, they were kind of hokey. But then once he started showing up later and later and later, and he started showing up in other books like Captain America, he started showing up, and Mike Zeck really got a hold of him, and he was like the artist on all of them. Once Mike Zeck and Klaus Janson and guys like that, Larry Hama, Vietnam vet, which is what at the time Frank Castle was the Punisher. He got the leash got longer because of in the mid 80s, everybody wanted their books to sell like whatever Frank Miller was on, and any of the X books were. That's what they wanted, so they allowed their writers to do that, which I think is a great thing. Yeah. And you know what? Next year's All In is not going to be. I think that's one of the reasons they won't ever admit it, but I think that's one of the reasons why Tony Khan is going to do it in the States. Because if it's your biggest pay-per-view, you want it to be airing on a prime time slot, either on Saturday and Sunday. I'm sorry, 10 a.m. Unless it's football and you're betting on it and you got fantasy players in it, that is not a prime. I've never thought that was a good spot for wrestling. I don't like the Saudi shows. I don't like, for a lot of reasons, but I don't. If you're going to say All In is basically your Super Bowl or your WrestleMania type show, then it needs to be prime time. That's one of the reasons why they're hesitant to do WrestleMania in another country, because they want that prime time slot. They do it with SummerSlam, but even SummerSlam, they had to move it later on. So that's one of the things I think next year in Texas, I think it being here is going to, it's going to boost the numbers. Yeah, no, I don't think Brad's coming. And we've had a couple of Thursdays where Brad is doing other things. He's doing different things, and like I said, that's okay. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I anchored the show long before Brad came along, and even though I enjoy having him all the time, he has other functions he does, and this time of night he is on a different time zone. So every now and then, if he wants to take a night off, I'm all right with it. All right. I think it's starting. Is it starting 7? It might be 8. I'm not sure. A. William. Okay. You fat fingered it again. As chunky as Prometheus and Covenant was, they felt great because they were new. I like I said, I love Prometheus. I wish Covenant had been more like Prometheus, but I think they yielded to the pressure of, we got to show the Xenomorphs because I can't recognize that as alien because I can't, get the squirrels in my brain to run fast enough to start it up. I don't know. I'll be watching it too. What time is that on? Man, that's what I'm saying. Here's another one. It's like, damn. Bash of Berlin is this week or next week of Bash of Berlin? Bash of Berlin. Okay, this is next week. Fuck. 9:30 a.m. my time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. See, here we go again. It's just like, Yeah, it's nasty. Like I said, Prometheus is still the overall nastiest alien movie. There's just some gross shit that happens in Prometheus. Ugh. But the third act of Romulus really tries to match it. Yeah, that's another thing. And I need to start doing more events. I got one that I'm sending you tomorrow that I actually started working on at last Comic-Con for the cover story. I need to talk to you about that. And I got some of the basic stuff done on it, but I need to send it up to you and do some stuff with it. I think it's a short. I'm going to start doing a lot more of them, like 5 minutes or less. I'm going to start producing, and it's really hard, even with help from Vince, to do pre-recorded content because you got to just set things up. When we go live stream, it's easy. I flip a couple of switches, and here we are. With pre-production stuff, it's a little bit harder for me because of my schedule, but a lot of people have. I get messages, emails now. People. People want to see the number one thing is earlier hours. I'm trying. And some people want to see shorts based on some of the merchandise because we talk long form on the show. I mean, I can talk forever, but sometimes and I'm a big lover of shorts, or not just a short, a vertical short, but just a general short. It gives a lot of people more time to see a lot more content. So I'm going to start working on that as well. All right. I mean, I promoted that movie, by the way. All right, you listen. We're not. I am not entertaining connections to Blade Runner and Alien. I am not entertaining connections to Blade Runner and Alien and Blade Runner and Super and Soldier and all that. No, no. No. Oh no, no. I need a lot more than that. By the way. Yeah, like I said, Lego movie. Lego movie. Like it's the biggest thing for me that really hurt the perception. And I'm not saying success wise because a lot of people like these two things I'm about to bring out. People loved Adam West as Batman. 4, 5, 6-year-old me loved Adam West as Batman. Grown me vomits in his mouth at the thought of that Batman. But once again, in my opinion, now that I have actually gotten into, grown up, seeing Batman for what it was, for what it was meant to be, if I had my way back then, I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have, because you really had to spend a lot of time in capital to try to steer the image of Batman into what the founders of Batman meant it to be. And trust me, he said it out loud that, what they did with Batman in the 60s was, sort of offensive. But a lot of people liked it. A lot of people liked the cartoons. But those two things had the biggest, as far as when I say detrimental, as far as transforming the character into something that it was not meant to be, those two things did probably the most damage to the perception. And it wasn't until the late 70s and the 80s to where the work was starting to get traction to start to get it back to where it was at. Because if you just went on the previous perceptions of Batman, you would have never gotten a Tim Burton movie. They would have never gone for that. But once Batman: The Dark Knight came out, things like that, people and the market, they saw that the market was there. They saw that that's the Batman that we can sell in 1989. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna say love the stuff all you want. Love it. Love the cartoon. What I'm saying is that that had an adverse influence. If you are true to the core of what Batman is, those things aren't Batman. Oh yeah, Pink Gaming. Like I said, I'm not a gamer, so I'm going to trust you with that, Droga. So I'm not a. Into the Spider-Verse. I think so. It's just so well done. It's both of them. I mean, and across the Spider-Verse, those are my two favorite Spider-Man movies. And I hear a lot of rumors about Lord Miller, and since I don't talk about him lately because there's nothing been substantiated, no verifiable source. So I'm assuming that Lord Miller are still there until I see something from a reliable source, instead of somebody quoting Puck News from behind the paywall. That I'm not ever paying for Puck News. So. What do you mean your movie isn't real? No, you're talking about your fan movie. No, listen, dude, I don't. My mind doesn't work that way. And the same thing with Star Trek. So don't take it personally. All Axanar and all that stuff. The only Star Trek that I want to see is Star Trek. I don't want to see something imitating Star Trek. I don't want to see, and all the credit and power to the world that the people who do those are super uber talented. My preference is for the actual IP. And that's nothing against you. That's nothing against the people who do Star Trek Continues, all that. I've seen some really good stuff. But it's just something in my head. If I'm watching Star Trek, I want to watch Star Trek. I want it to be Star Trek. If I'm watching Green Lantern, if I'm watching Superman, if I'm watching any of these things, I really want it to be, what it was. Now, when we did the guys from the Four Nerds did Nicotine and all those guys, they did the Zack Snyder thing. That was done on his storyboards from, you know. But if we just went off and started doing that, I would congratulate them on that. But for me, it's just a preference thing. It's not nothing against you guys. Oh, come on now. Stop it. New Watchmen movie shouldn't be $19. I had a problem with that. That's kind of pricey. I could see $19 if no, that's a little bit too much there, Warner Brothers. I hope they're making the money because hey, they need it. You lost me at Lord of the Rings. Sorry, I haven't seen it. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. Yep, Amazing Spider-Man 129. That is not the Punisher that would be developed in the late 70s, early 80s. Savage, would you be against me doing a gaming show on the channel? We talked about it for a Star Trek. No, I wouldn't be opposed at all. Nope, have at it. Yeah, and here's the thing, though. I'm wondering how. I think that if they're going to do it like they did SummerSlam in 1992, which is basically going to fuck the people in the UK, because those people had to stay up way late. I believe that SummerSlam 1992, because I remember watching it. That was in the UK, and that was in Wembley Stadium, or not the Wembley Stadium is now, but it was at I remember watching it, and we were watching that in the mid to late afternoon. So I'm thinking that they did that mainly for their TV audience because that's where their money was going to be made. So I'm wondering what the start time for WrestleMania when they do it in Britain is going to be, because I can't see them making their American audience where their bread and butter is, for WrestleMania. I can see them doing it for these other pay-per-views, but like I said, you're going to have me up 10 a.m. in the morning? Come on, man. I mean, a wrestling fanatic like me, yeah, but a lot of people that tune into WrestleMania aren't the year-round wrestling people. So that might be a little bit much. So yeah, I'm curious to how that's going to roll. But I know Tony Khan. I think one of the reasons why Tony Khan is doing this because I think Tony Khan realizes that demographic, you know, especially if you're going to be going on shit. This all depends on, and I think this is about to be announced. This all depends on the WBD though about the sign. So. No, all in is this week. All in is on the 25th. Oh, college football, yeah. But yeah, all in is on the 25th at that weird time, and then next week is yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's I for Clash at the Castle and all these other ones, and the Saudi shows. Okay, fine, but for your main line for Tony Khan, that's your main. That's your all in is your big show. Um, I'm not a big fan of having your audience have that drastically different of his schedule. So that's just what is this? Oh, You know what? I also. Oh, you're an asshole. I just got that. I should end the show just because you did that, but we still got a few more minutes left. Yeah, but it's in the comic. It's tough to ascertain what he would really sound like because we had never heard him. But you see how the letters are written. It's supposed to be a creepier version. But I wear shorts a lot when I'm here. You just don't see me from the waist down. Oh Lord, here you go. You guys are sick. Oh, I hear a lot. I hear a lot. I hear it a lot. If I never heard it, I wouldn't. It wouldn't piss me off. But yeah, I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot on a lot of different platforms. Um, like I said, if you think it's a classic, that's fine. I think it's well done. I think for what it is, Batman the Animated Series is a fine show. It's just once you slap that bat on it, then it needs to be Batman. And I've heard a lot of people use that as an example. Like I said, to the point where it irks me. You would never hear me talking about it if I didn't hear it a lot. I don't think it's one of the great iterations at all. I think onto itself it is a good cartoon. But as far as iterations of Batman, no, I don't even put it in the good category of Batman. I put it in the great category of the execution of the cartoon, the voice acting, the look, the feel, things like that. But as far as iterations of Batman, no, no. And this is one I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot, and this is 100% fine. Your gateway drug to get into Batman, but once you're into Batman, like I watched Batman on a screen with the Super Friends as a little kid, but grown ass me did not have expectations of that when it was time for me to watch live action Batman. You know, when it was time to watch a serious version of Batman, I wasn't looking at Adam West and Burt Ward go-go dancing and surfing. Once grown ass William started, consuming Batman, that is what I watched. I didn't drag that shit and say, well, this Batman that I watched with Jan and Bleak and Monkey and all that, and the Tornado Dude and all the goofy stuff they had on Superman's. I did not have expectations of that coming into grown ass Batman. That's the difference. And it seems like a lot of people they drag these influences in, and those are the expectations. And I'm like, that's a problem. If there was a definitive line of expectation, that'd be cool, but it's not. And like I said, it's just not a thing I'm making up in my head. Well, it's not because I don't watch. I don't do fan films. I listen. Fan filmmakers continue to do the great work that you do, but I'm a stickler that way. It's nothing against you. You could probably make some shit that's better looking than the other IP, but it still won't be the thing for me. I can't. When I'm watching something, I have to. If I'm watching Trek, if I'm watching Star Wars, if I'm watching whatever, I have to be watching that. When I watch something, I invest in it in a way that is for it's the actual IP. It's so sorry. It's just a personal preference. Fourth is lost his mind. I didn't kill one guy who doesn't watch any fan films is gonna kill your dream. It'll be different if I said, "Oh fuck, Droga, never watching his shit." I just don't watch those in general. So yeah, but if you would have followed the gateway that was 1989, it shouldn't have led you to any of that other shit. Um, you know, and once that stuff was out there, that's great. But once we got back to making Batman movies that are the core of what Batman is, then we can't have this stuff as part of it. Shit, we can't even have the '89 movie as part of it. No, I'm talking about SummerSlam 1992. That did not come on early in the morning because I remember watching that live. They may yeah no hold on maybe I'm it's been a long time. It's been 32 years. Hold on, you may be right. Let me look. Summer, because you can Google this now. SummerSlam 1990. Because I recall watching it um later on in the afternoon. Okay, let's look. Wow, there's a lot of information. All right, 1992 SummerSlam was the fifth annual SummerSlam professional wrestling pay-per-view, produced by blah blah blah. The pay-per-view included two main events. The first, Ultimate Warrior. Let's see. Doesn't tell me. Shit, August 29th. Shit, we're coming up on the 32nd anniversary of that shit. 78,000 attended Wembley Stadium. Let's see if the poster shows it. All right, okay, here we go. Now, SummerSlam in 1992 aired 8 p.m. here, Eastern, and 5 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, I remember it. They fucked England on this show because if you look at the poster, I don't know if I can bring it up. Let me save image as. Okay. Hold on, let me bring this up. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but yeah, because I remember that. I remember asking my buddies who we were watching it live, like, "Wow, I wonder what time it is in London." Yeah, see that? So see Monday. It aired in London, but yeah, in our time it was 5 p.m. because I remember watching it in LA. I was in LA at the time. This was the year before I went to basic training. So 8 p.m. Eastern. But if you look, if we watched it on a Sunday, if I recall right. Hold on, let's bring it up. I think we watched it on a Sunday. It's been so long, but I know. No, it took place on Saturday. It took place on Saturday and aired on tape delay. Let's see, hold on. See, we watched it live because they tape delayed it because pay per view, by the way, guys, back in 1992, not how you do it now. Let's see. Yeah, but even then, for them to tape delay it, that means that TV audience is really important. But yeah, I remember we were trying to figure out what would happen, alter the timeline and take commentary fan film. I don't hate it. It's not my. 7 p.m. VQQ time. Yeah, that's 11 here. Yeah, I used to be primetime of Superstars of Wrestling. Aired every Saturday, and that shit was like taped 2 weeks in advance. The thing is, though, from a business point of view, do you want these big events to be in prime time? That's why they did that. Screw you guys. It it was it was something we watched, but like I said, once I grew up, I didn't refer to any of those versions of the characters to my adulthood expectations of the characters. That's all. Okay, okay, you guys are talking college sports. No. I don't know. I'm assuming it's gonna probably be, because like I said, SummerSlam, you will never ever see them tape delay a pay-per-view again because we have the internet. So you could do it back then. I forgot how we watched it live, but you could do it back then because we had no other way. There was no other way. It wasn't like Sports Center was covering wrestling at the time. You couldn't. There was no other way. You could basically watch it like you were watching live. But it was a 3 hour pay per view with intermission. It was one pay per views that time. That's right. That's right. Because the British Bulldog, because obviously he was Britain. That was one of the greatest matches of all time, by the way. Defeated Bret Hart, and the way he defeated him with that roll up was perfect. See, all right, let's look at that card. That card was Jim Duggan and the Bushwhackers defeated the Mountie and the Nasty Boys. Papa Shango defeated Tito Santana. The Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal defeated Money Inc. Nails defeated Virgil by submission. Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels with Sensational Sherry ended in double countout. The National Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon defeated the Beverly Brothers, Bo and Blake. Oh man, with the Genius, I can't even remember those guys. Crush defeated Repo Man by pinfall, which was hilarious because Crush had been in Demolition and Barry Darso was Repo Man. The Ultimate Warrior. Okay, Uh, yeah, Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage was the world title match, but it was number 8 out of 11. The Undertaker, who was just starting to take off, defeated Kamala. Tatanka defeated the Berserker. I can't even remember who the fuck. And the British Bulldog. That was a big thing because the British Bulldog, that was his first single title. Yeah, I remember watching that. I remember watching that live. Dude, I can't. But it's been like 32 years. So, but like I said, that was 1992. I can't see them doing that again now. So I think what's going to happen for WrestleMania is UK viewers and people in that audience, they're going to get fucked because I don't think Peacock, who will be airing it at that time, because I don't think the Netflix thing starts till afterwards, it's going to go for the biggest pay per view of the year for them being at 10 a.m. in the morning. I just can't see it, but could be wrong. Super chat from Clint. Thank you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Clint Honey, Clint with a $5 super chat for Ruthie William is the trial person, whoever to trial the earth. See, he did that. That's how I would do it in the super chat. There you go. Capitalism. You can go to the WWE Network too on Peacock. Peacock has it. In fact, I think I watched it a couple of days ago. Yeah, I used to get that. I used to get all the wrestling magazines back in the day. I used to get I used to get Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I mean, back when before the internet was a thing, man, we would get all those, dude. All right, I think we are running out of steam here. Let's see what do we got. if anybody who is currently online watching me right now, I have 2 pairs of tickets, Adam tickets to go see. I think no, three to go see The Crow. I'm going to put my email, my business email, in the chat. Go ahead and send it to me, and I'll randomly select some people. And if you really want to go see it, then you can go see it. Let's see. No, I just got a lot. I got a lot of them, dude. Every now and then, I'll get a lot. Like, dude, for Aquaman, I got 100 Fandango seats. So, and then I did a screening with 150 people. So every now and then they go all out. I just got a lot of them. And the movie, look who the fuck goes up. I was not expecting you to.
Well, it was one of those nights. Again, but what's the established rule on here is like, if Brad's not on, it's just assume it was just a night where he just training or coaching just caught up with him, and he just came home, crashed, and
which I was totally fine with.
Oh no, this really was because we just had a prep test in the school, and one of the coaches, he's ex-military, so he really he really, when we supervise again, like, he really knows how to put the students through the ringer. Man, today I went in there. I've never gone in more sore than I ever have.
Real quick, hold on. Droga, do me a favor. Make sure you can take Adam tickets, and I don't know how it works in Australia. So if you can, I will gladly hook you up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so it was just that. I mean, and it's weird because that I was coming off of that last night. We did the Crow Watch party, but yeah, I guess it didn't really catch up with me until today, where it's like, man, I was feeling the next day of, oh man, I was sore, I was wiped out. Just came home tonight, just slept the sleep of the dead.
Yeah, I used to sleep. Nah, I don't. Fucking ACS and his show at 4:00 in the morning, so I stay up and watch that before I go to bed. But it's like,
I feel you, man.
Him and Dracula. I just try to. I'm gonna have to start watching that show, like, not live. But no, we just
no, not quite. Not getting kicked by children, although. Yeah, I was again helping today after getting put through the ringer the previous night. But yeah, it was it's listen. I'm not complaining at all, because it's like it's all very. It's being in martial arts as long as I have, it's part it. It's not that kind of experience. It's like it's very satisfying, to when you feel that sense of accomplishment when you've gone through something that taxing and that that much that pulls that much out of you. So it's not I'm not at all complaining, other than just like, oh boy, wake up the next day like, oh man, I'm sore and I'm achy. but it's the kind of thing we share stories about. I'm sure Erin can probably share her own stories about it too.
She's probably not a wuss like you are. Hey, Joga, I got your email. It's your email with pants in it. Thank you. I think Erin probably just has a layer of muscle that you could just kick her for days, and she'd be like, "Are you still going?"
Yeah.
She probably has one of those 6-packs that could, like, literally you throw a bowling ball at it, and she just was like,
in all seriousness though, it's like during the because I think I slightly sprained my shoulder recently, and I was kind of feeling that catch up with me a little bit last night. We're starting out just throwing punches, and I felt something pop a little bit in the arm.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's not good.
Well, I mean, I could still punch, so it's like I didn't break I didn't break anything, so it's like
And
you
then
know,
shit starts swelling up. You'd be like, oh fuck.
well, it didn't swell up, so it's like I guess you know, it looks normal. Like, I can still use it, so it's like I guess again, it's just a minor sprain probably. But man, it's you know, in the moment you feel like, oh damn, what did I just do?
Yeah, Blade does hold the distinction because
Yes.
of
Because
but
the,
he-
you know, the
yeah,
gap.
but
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
frequency of what he plays
in
the
fact-
character does.
In fact, actually, he holds that record. It's interesting you mentioned that, Aaron, because Wesley, he holds the record for like the longest period of playing a CM. I think because of the gap from Blade Trinity. Now he also has the record of like the longest gap from like from playing at one time and then returning to the role. So he holds that record too of like the longest gap between performances as a CBM character.
Yeah, CBM wasn't even a term back when Blade was
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
We didn't even think about
Yeah.
these movies. Like I said, it's funny to see the kids today. They look back on this and they see it and they're like, well, this is where this came from. I'm like, no, guys, you had to be there to understand. But there was no such environment as comic book movies. There were some comic book movies, but it wasn't like this. It
Well,
wasn't.
we were kind of talking about that during the Crow Watch party too. It's and it's actually something that you know, you could definitely like write a book on like the different phases of the superhero / comic movie genre, and you know, in the period from like when Batman '89 to X-Men came out, because X-Men, you know, as William said, you know, that really you know ushered in what we now think of as the modern day comic book movie genre, because you had X-Men and then Spider-Man came out 2 years later, and now we get you know where we get several a year. But going from DC and Marvel, but back between Batman '89 and X-Men, again, other than Batman, I mean, you know, with the CBMs we were getting, it's kind of weird to say it's like Blade actually probably was the closest to like a mainstream one other than Batman during that period, because what were we getting CBM wise during that period? It was like the Rocketeer, it was the Shadow, it was the Phantom, it was
all it was all because of the actors of that time.
Yeah.
Because Blade, the character, is not even mainstream in the comic books, but Wesley Snipes is mainstream everywhere. I mean, in China, I mean, people knew who. You know, White Man Can't Jump really blew shit up for that guy.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean, he really, that was one of the most, actually for him and Woody Harrelson as well. Woody Harrelson he went from the guy on Cheer. He really, that movie, how much did that fucking movie make? Because it seems like it made $1 billion.
And
I know
enough,
it didn't. You know,
funnily enough, again, they both went on to play Marvel characters. You know Wesley Blade and Woody is Carnage.
Yeah.
But you know, that just goes to show you again how mainstream the genre has become. You know, in the ensuing years, where we got big stars now. Back then, it's like you didn't get a greenlit at all without a big name star. But now it's like that's getting big stars aboard.
Now it's the world. The world
exactly,
is Johnny. I don't mind. Listen, some of these characters, I give them all their spotlight. All these '90s characters and Fox characters, as long as it is goodbye, as long as they're being used as a tool to usher in the new stuff. Use these guys. They are there. That's fine. I don't mind seeing X-Men again. I don't mind it. I expected to see him in Deadpool. After we consolidate the universe, though, I don't want to see him again. I don't want to see Hugh Jackman, to be honest with you. You know what? You want to use him as part of the vehicle to say goodbye to the old world? I'm all for it. I think it would be a brilliant story. But I want a new Wolverine. I want a Wolverine that I want X-Men and characters that fit the MCU, not ones that were carried over into, you know what I mean? I've seen these characters. There's nothing, you can show me of those X-Men movies that I haven't already seen. I'm ready for something new. Well, how much did White Man Can't Jump me?
I'm pulling that up right now. And again, it's whatever.
By the way, it's 92. So.
Yeah, it's 92. So it's
like
tack on probably like inflation wise, maybe like I don't know, like what 250. Whatever this still. Yeah, it did 90.8 million against a $31 million budget. So probably that'd be equivalent to probably about 300 million today.
Yeah. And but in the money they spent, that 1992, that was what right after New Jack City. That like I said, that was his time where he demanded a lot more money by the end of that decade than he did at the beginning of that decade. So But yeah, wouldn't mind seeing these characters get a send off. You're never, like I said, you're never gonna get me to say no to a proper goodbye because I've
Well,
seen so many shitty ones. So
I was actually going to mention that it's funny, Antonio, you mentioned because Ryan Reynolds, he's kind of been making the rounds on that where he's now at least twice, called for like some kind of Wesley Snipes Blade send off, and of course that's quite a reversal from, of course we've all heard the stories about Blade Trinity's rather infamous behind the scenes situation, and that did include ostensibly some bad incidents and such between Wesley and Ryan, and of course now that's very much very much changed. I mean, obviously it's testimony to it's something I wrote about in an article about about the Snyder stuff, like and the dudes these you don't write these things off because people if there's business to be done, if there's a story to be told, legacy, people can meet in the middle on it, and
they're not like YouTubers.
Yeah.
They're not like fans on Twitter. I see so many bridges burnt on these platforms. It's ridiculous. No, I mean, when there's money changing hands or possibly changing hands or careers, being built, they don't do the fanboy bullshit. You make a deal, you get together. You don't have to love the people you work with. Every one of us at some time has worked with an asshole or assholes. All right. Guess what? We did our shit. We got our check. We went home. So.
And it is interesting to me though, because it's like, I mean, because look at like the behind the scenes photos of the post. I mean, it's like it's very clear at this point. I mean, they really seem to have like whatever bridges, or whatever bad blood there was, they really have mended fences. So
plus that was so long ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You don't really. I mean, like I said, I mean, business is getting done. There was an opportunity. Opportunity is going to dictate whether something happens or not.
And look at the results. I mean, it's like it's it's clear that them making that handshake and striking this deal, it paid off for both of them, and potentially with Wesley doing a one final Logan-esque Blade movie. It's like if that enmity had continued to exist between them, look what we and they would not have gotten out of that.
Yeah. Well, once again, because I see a lot of the stuff, not just with Blade, I see it with some other stuff on there. I want to move forward. I am a forward-thinking guy. I enjoyed all of this stuff that has come out. Watched it multiple times in some cases. But if we're making new movies, I want to see some new stuff. I want to see it's different than, like I said, people ask, well, what about, DC and all that? I was never fulfilled there. I got that cut short and left me wanting. With these characters, with X-Men and all these characters, most of these characters we're talking about, minimum got 3 movies. Some of them got more. So when it comes to Marvel, my only concern is that, listen, we got platefuls of these characters. This universe that we're in now has nothing to do with those characters. And what kind of argument you want to make? Well, it was the one that gave birth and, and all that complete bullshit. Even still, the MCU started in 2008. That is what it is. That has developed its own look, its own feel, its own way of storytelling. And that's where I want to see the characters derived from. If I want to see some of these characters, from the, a different era, Disney Plus has made it really easy. You just click on it and you click on the thing and there you are. Your time machine is taking you back. But I don't want that to be weighing down the future. I've looked forward to it. And like I said, I don't think you're going to see that with like things like Blade. And I don't think you're going to see them very much more of them. Even if you get more of them, I don't think you're going to see that much more of Hugh Jackman, because I do think that the storyline will need to line up depending on who's telling the story and where it is. You may not be able to pull that off. In fact, you might see Hugh Jackman be introduced to his own replacement, because I think
that'd be actually be a pretty awesome way to kind of pass the torch. It's like actually Secret Wars, like have him meet face to face whoever the MCU Wolverine is going to be. That actually, and now that I think about it, it's like, now that I think about it, I think that's actually pretty likely.
Yeah, I would love that to happen
now. I am too. It's like that is like, I would give that very high odds. I would give that very high odds. So yeah. Vince, do I game at all? So. I'm mainly a fighting games kind of guy. So I mean, there are people who definitely put me to shame on like their total video game knowledge, though. But yeah, it's like yeah. So I've also there are like a few titles that are kind of outside, like Asura's Wrath. Anybody familiar with that? I really love that. That because I love the expansive, Hindu, Buddhist inspired cosmology blended with sci-fi that it does. So I really dig that a lot. But yeah, so I'd say
I just don't have the time, and I have an addictive personality. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I got an addictive personality with Castlevania 3, and when I used to play Halo, I would miss work for Halo, and that was before the networking. I had the networking apparatus. Now these games you can play with anybody, anywhere, at any time. Nah,
you can play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam.
Yeah, I would never get anything done. I wouldn't be streaming. I'd be out of business already. I would be. I am that kind of person. So no. So I am not a gamer at all. I know me, and that's why I'm not making fun of gamers, but I know me, and me will be like, I got to win this one. I can't be losing. And it would be like Magic the Gathering. Like I told people when I used to host tournaments in the mid '90s, Magic the Gathering, my entire life was consumed by the game because I'm so competitive. When I wasn't playing at our tables, because I would set up tournaments and I would have like a Mox or a Jizam Jen or something like that, a big expensive card hanging around my neck, and that was what you had to win, and you had to play me in the tournament to beat me. So but when I wasn't playing, I was thinking of different strategies to beat somebody and counterspell and all that. I had a red and blue deck, and people hated it because it had no creatures in it that you could take over. And all I was doing when I would be walking around, that was when I was working at Walmart overnight too. I would be dragging pallets and just thinking how I could counterspell this, do that, how I can him the Turok. I mean, that's the kind of guy I was doing with a card game. Could you imagine what I would be doing with video games?
Yeah.
I would be fucking useless.
I've heard of it, Fourth, and I've seen the trailer. So it does look pretty cool to me. I've never gotten a chance to check it out, but yeah, I've definitely heard of it. It definitely looks very much my thing as far as that game goes. So yeah, definitely got to give it a look at some point.
Counter Strike. And you could have 4 of them. You could have 4 of each card in your deck. And I had counter spells. I had 4 sea sprites, everything that could counter. And then it was land damage. It was either direct damage, red and blue direct damage, or counter spell. And then I had strip mines. I had all kinds of shit in there because with Magic you had to be able to pull land and mana out and tap it. I had all kinds of crazy. Then I'd play house rules and bring out a Nervinius disc and fuck up everybody. There would be, like I said, that house rules. I would go out and spend $150, $200 on a card. We'd have the store packed, and we would be there. I had no time limit, so we would be there until the shit was done. There was a pizza place right next door to us that used to stay open later because of us. We would be there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
We were not fucking around. Magic the Gathering and from 1992 to 1996 was the shit. When comic books started to fail, when Marvel started to saturate, and DC started to saturate, and all the indies started to saturate, and all the stores started to, just the comics weren't moving. We all went into Magic and Gathering and stuff like that, and we would use sealed decks, we would do all kinds of stuff. But like literally, I would have dirt cheap tournaments for expensive cards, and like I said, the pizza place that closed at 9 on Saturday, we would start our tournaments at 6 p.m. We would be there till 4 a.m. in the morning and eating pizza. I remember a old Polaroid. I had to dig it up somewhere because this was back in before digital, where we had pizza boxes stacked up the height of the door because we had been there so long. They loved us. I mean, they would be throwing in free 2 liters and shit. I mean, we would be playing, and we would have no time limit, so it would be like a bunch of chess players. I love those days, man. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of, we used to have similar things when I was a little kid, when Mortal Kombat first dropped. I remember distinctly, I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. We had this sleepover at my house where it's like we were all just getting killed over and over, and like one kid finally got to the final stage with Goro, and he's like, "Okay, everybody's got to shut up now. I got to have the complete concentration." And he did. He's like, he finally took down Goro. So I mean, it was took a long time that night, but that was a night of a lot of gaming and a lot of fatalities.
Yeah, I remember when those games first came out. Like I said, when the game stuff came out, It was kind of cool because, like I said, Sega Genesis. I had a Nintendo, but I really, really love the Sega Genesis, man.
Yeah, I was on Sega too. Let's see. Anthony says, and Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson teamed up again, but this time they had a good-looking shorty by the name of Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, are you talking about for U-Turn?
Yeah. I think that's what they're getting at. Let's see. Vince says, Brad, if I develop this gaming show for the channel, let's get... Okay. Sure, man. Sounds good. I'm still... And it's funny you should mention that because I'm definitely waiting on... because MK obviously is one that's very, very close to my heart. But I'm also still waiting for the when we were finally get the news of Injustice 3. I want to see Injustice 3. Come on, guys. What are you doing? Ed Boon, NetherRealm Studios. Come on, Injustice 3. We're still waiting on that. Injustice.
You might be waiting.
But listen, Injustice when that dropped, I mean, that was such a phenomenon. That was everywhere.
Yeah,
that was,
look who runs the.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's true. Yeah, because of what they're going through now with the because that extends to the gaming division of Warner Brothers. Everything we've talked about, and which it's what we've been saying. With this this latest merger that is all but inevitable now. And Film Junkies talked about it a little bit too on his show that as far as he had a video about a week ago or so is after the news about Warner Brothers again take their quarterly earnings taking like a write down of 10 billion with a B on their quarterly earnings. It was over like it was related to they had overvalued like their TV networks by like 9.1 billion. And then, of course, there's the NBA stuff.
You know what? That's something I do. That's something I do.
Yeah, somebody got fired for that right there. Yeah, that is like that's an error on a spreadsheet. It's like what the hell are you doing? I mean, this company's been run bad, but I mean, it's like you don't, but not like 9.1 billion margin of error on your quarterly earnings spreadsheet bad.
Well, not for that $10 billion, 9 point whatever. That's not good. So.
Yeah. So.
You should not believe it. You should. It is unbelievable. You should not believe it. Yeah, but it is.
Yeah. So I mean, it's why again, whenever we talk about like the stuff with the studio, it's right. It always circles back in my head, and I periodically bring it up to William. It's like when do you think? It's like what's the time frame? What's the ETA on the next merger or sale? And because it's like I mean, just it seems like every week or so we get like more headlines about it. And here's how the management of WB is screwed the pooch on something else lately again. And again, William keeps going back to probably just a lot of prospective buyers are just kind of watching from the sidelines and waiting for the stock to get to like a low point that's ideal for them to begin their
otherwise why, and it's up a little bit, it's like 767 or 770 today. I don't think it's worth. I don't think the company stock is worth that much. So why would I pay that much? And then I'm not only paying that much, but I'm assuming the debt. The lower price will make the debt a little bit easier to absorb because if it's a company that takes it over, that will boost the price up. You're not going to have a $7 stock if a company buys it.
It's 770 or 750 right now. So it went
down 26.
Yeah, it went up a little bit in the last couple of days, and then but again, it's like it's still like that's not. Their high point in the last few years was 77. So yeah, I mean we only belabor the point so much. Like they're when you have 750.
Well, and a lot of that devaluing went from the actual sale. AT&T really screwed them up. But once again, I wouldn't have sold it to Discovery, but no one else wanted it. So
yeah. So yeah, that's all a really long-winded way of William, countering my my question about when are we getting Injustice 3? Oh right, we have to remember what studio is attached to it.
Probably when they sell it to somebody else, or when they allow someone else to.
All the more reason to sell it that much sooner.
Well, they're going to sell Warner Brothers games. They're going to sell that. They're selling that anyway. So it's not,
yeah,
have to wait for that one. All right. On that note, I think we're gonna wrap this one up, and because I got a long day ahead of me, and I still got some TV to watch, some food to eat.
Yeah, I'm
laundry
probably
to
gonna.
do.
Yeah, I'm trying to go see The Crow with Ashley tomorrow night too. So I might be as far as like us popping on the box stream, I might be a little bit later on that tomorrow.
I got another comics league wants me on the show tomorrow, so that might. I
Yeah,
might
we're
be able to-
we're getting popular here. We're loving it.
All right, guys. That is it for today, or at least this today. Until we see you later on this later on tonight, somehow, some way. But like I said, got a big Saturday plan. So if I don't see you again, you'll definitely see me on Saturday. But you'll probably see me again. So
Right.
let me get to my exit screen. I need a better exit screen.
Yes, she is local. She is local. I can't wait to bring her on the show.
Is she real? That's what he meant to say. Is she
Yes,
real?
I can't wait to bring her on the show, and you guys just like I want to see like all your jaws drop. It's like,
Well,
oh my god, we doubted
We've
Brad.
had enough. You've had enough time to really take someone off the street and tell her name is Ashley. I mean, shit,
Oh,
you could have grown in Ashley as many times.
You guys, she's gonna get such a laugh out of this, guys.
You know, I'm gonna be doing my best to get her to slip up with her real name. You know, because I know you'll be like, remember you're Ashley. Say your name. What's your name? Ashley. What's your name? Jane. I mean Ashley. And then
I'm gonna two can play that game because her middle name is Brooke, so it's like I'm gonna tell her. Okay, so if they try and make it slip up, like like say Brooke instead.
All right. Well, like I said, time will tell. All right, guys. See you later on.
There, guys.